My daughter-in-law Amanda told everyone I was a retired secretary who could barely pay rent. For my son's sake, I played along, wearing old clothes, taking the bus, never mentioning my job. Then one day, Amanda's father needed a meeting with Sterling Global's CEO to save his failing company. When the elevator doors opened in that boardroom, and I stepped out as CEO Helen Sterling, Amanda's face went completely white. Her father's company? I had already decided to reject the deal 3 weeks ago. My name is Helen Sterling. I'm 69 years old. And this is the story of how I taught my daughter-in-law the most expensive lesson of her life. It started on a Tuesday morning when my son Tom called at 7:30 a.m. "Mom, good morning. Listen, Amanda's parents are visiting this weekend. They want to meet you. Dinner at Marcello's on Saturday at 7 p.m. Can you make it?" Marcello's. The most expensive restaurant in the city. $200 per plate. Amanda knew I supposedly lived on a tight budget, counting every penny from my secretary pension. This wasn't an invitation. This was a setup. "Of course, honey. I'd love to meet them," I said, keeping my voice grateful and humble. "Great. Just wear something nice, okay?" Amanda's parents are kind of formal. After we hung up, I sat in my small rented apartment, the one I kept specifically for family visits. $800 a month for this disguise. I looked around at the worn furniture, the cheap curtains, the chipped coffee mugs. This was the Helen that Tom knew. The struggling widow. The modest mother. But 3 blocks away, in a private garage, sat my real life. A Mercedes S-Class. A penthouse worth $3 million. And in 2 hours, I would walk into Sterling Global Corporation as CEO, managing a company worth $8 billion with 17,000 employees worldwide. I had been playing this double life for 5 years. 5 years of protecting my son from the weight of my success. 5 years of letting him build his own career without living in my shadow. 5 years of watching Amanda treat me like garbage because she thought I was nobody. But that was about to change. At 9 a.m., I was sitting in my corner office on the 42nd floor when my assistant Marcus knocked. "Miss Sterling, I have the Morrison Industries file you requested." Morrison Industries. Amanda's father's company. I had been tracking it for months. "Tell me what we are looking at," I said. Marcus opened his tablet. "Richard Morrison, CEO. The company is hemorrhaging money. 15 million in debt, losing major contracts, stock price down 60% in 2 years. They submitted a partnership proposal 3 weeks ago. They're desperate for our distribution network and a cash infusion." And the meeting. Monday at 10 a.m. Mr. Morrison is flying in personally with his executive team. I smiled. Monday. Just 2 days after the family dinner. Perfect. Prepare the rejection materials. I want detailed documentation of why this partnership doesn't align with our strategic goals. Marcus looked surprised. "You're rejecting it before the meeting?" "The numbers don't work. Morrison Industries is a sinking ship. But I'll hear them out." Professional courtesy. What Marcus didn't know was that I had made my decision the moment I saw Richard Morrison's name. The man whose daughter had spent 5 years treating me like a burden. The man whose approval Amanda craved so desperately that she pretended her mother-in-law didn't exist. The rejection wasn't personal. The numbers really didn't work. But the timing? That was absolutely personal. Saturday arrived. I spent the morning preparing. Not my appearance. That was simple. I wore a faded floral dress I bought at a thrift store, old shoes with worn heels, and carried a fake leather purse I got for $12. My hair was in a simple bun. No makeup except a touch of lipstick. I looked exactly like a woman living on a $900 monthly pension. I took the bus to Marcello's, arriving at 6:55 p.m. The restaurant was stunning. Crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, waiters in tuxedos. I felt deliberately out of place. That was the point. Tom and Amanda were already there with her parents. I spotted them at a corner table. Richard Morrison was a tall man in his 60s, wearing an expensive suit and a Rolex that probably cost $40,000. His wife Constance wore diamonds that caught the light like small suns. Amanda sat between them in a designer dress, perfectly made up. And then there was Tom. My sweet boy. 35 years old, working as a mid-level marketing manager, wearing his best suit that I knew he'd bought on sale. He looked nervous. Mom. Tom stood up when he saw me, hugging me warmly. You made it. Of course, sweetheart. I hugged him back, then turned to the table with my most humble smile. You must be Richard and Constance. It's so wonderful to finally meet you. Richard's handshake was brief, assessing. Constance's smile didn't reach her eyes. Helen. Amanda has told us so much about you, Constance said in a tone that made it clear what Amanda had told them wasn't complimentary. We sat down. A waiter appeared immediately with leather-bound menus. I opened mine and tried not to react. Appetizers started at $45. Main courses ranged from $80 to $120. Order whatever you'd like, Helen, Richard said magnanimously. This is our treat. Oh, that's so generous, I said, my voice small. Thank you so much. This is such a special place. I've never been anywhere this fancy. I saw Amanda exchange a look with her mother. A look that said, see? This is what I've been dealing with. The waiter came to take our orders. Richard ordered the Kobe beef for $120. Constance chose the lobster for $95. Amanda ordered the truffle pasta for $80. Tom, bless him, ordered the chicken for $60, probably trying to be considerate. And for you, the waiter asked me. I hesitated, playing my role perfectly. The garden salad, please. Is that $35? For a salad? Yes. It's organic greens with. That sounds lovely. Thank you. The moment the waiter left, Constance leaned forward with exaggerated sympathy. Helen, dear, you know you can order more than a salad. We really don't mind. Oh no, I'm fine. I had a big lunch. I laughed nervously. I'm trying to watch my budget. You know how it is on a fixed income. Richard nodded slowly. Tom mentioned you were a secretary before you retired. That must have been challenging. Raising a son alone on that salary. It was hard, I admitted, which wasn't a lie. My first job had been as a secretary. What I didn't mention was that I hadn't stayed a secretary. That I'd gone to night school for 10 years. That I'd clawed my way up from secretary to analyst to manager to VP to CEO. That I'd built my wealth dollar by dollar, decision by decision, 18-hour day by 18-hour day. Well, thank goodness Tom found Amanda, Constance said, patting her daughter's hand. Our family has been able to help them quite a bit. The down payment on their house, the new car. It's important to give young couples a good start. The subtext was clear. Tom's family couldn't help. Tom married up. Tom should be grateful. Tom looked uncomfortable. Mom did a lot for me growing up. She made sure I went to good schools, had everything I needed. Of course she did, Amanda interrupted sweetly. No one's saying otherwise. But let's be honest, it's different when you have resources. Real resources. I smiled blandly and said nothing. The dinner continued in this vein for an hour. Stories about the Morrison family's wealth. Their vacation home in the Hamptons. Their yacht. Their connections. All delivered with smiles, but designed to make one thing perfectly clear. The Morrisons were successful people, and Helen Sterling was not. At one point, Richard turned to me. So Helen, what do you do with your time now that you're retired? Any hobbies? Oh, I keep busy. I volunteer at the library. Take walks in the park. Watch TV. I paused, then added innocently, what about you, Richard? Tom mentioned you have your own company. That must be exciting. Something flickered across Richard's face. Yes. Morrison Industries. We manufacture industrial components. It's been a family business for 3 generations. How wonderful. Is business good? The flicker became a frown. It has its challenges. The market is changing. But we are adapting. Actually, we are in talks with a major corporation right now. A partnership that could really transform the company. That sounds promising, I said. It is. The meeting is Monday morning. With Sterling Global. Have you heard of them? I felt a small thrill run through me. This was it. The perfect setup. Sterling Global? I don't think so. Are they big? Amanda actually laughed. Mom, they're one of the largest corporations in the world. They're worth billions. Oh my. That does sound important. Richard leaned forward, warming to his subject. This partnership could really elevate Morrison Industries. We are meeting with their CEO personally. Helen Sterling. They say she's brilliant but ruthless. Very selective about partnerships. Helen Sterling, I repeated slowly, as if trying to remember. Is that a woman? Yes. One of the few female CEOs at that level. Very impressive, I have to admit. How nice that women can do that now, I said vaguely. Constance patted my hand. Don't worry, dear. Not everyone can be a CEO. The world needs secretaries too. I smiled. You're absolutely right. We finished dinner. Richard paid the $400 bill with a flourish, making sure I saw the total. As we left the restaurant, Amanda hugged her parents. Thank you so much for dinner. And for being so nice to Tom's mom. Nice. That's what she called this. Being nice. Tom drove me home. To my fake apartment, of course. In the car, he was quiet. Mom, I'm sorry about tonight. Amanda's parents can be a bit much. They were lovely, honey. You're lucky to have such successful in-laws. Yeah. He didn't sound convinced. I wish they hadn't made such a big deal about money. You know I don't care about that stuff. I know you don't, sweetheart. That's why I love you. He hugged me goodnight at my door. As I watched him drive away, I felt that familiar ache, the price of my deception. Tom loved me for who he thought I was. Would he still love me when he learned the truth? I pushed the thought away. Monday morning would answer that question soon enough. On Monday at 9:45 a.m., I stood in front of my office mirror in a charcoal grey Armani suit, my hair in a professional twist, wearing the diamond earrings my company had given me for 20 years of service. The woman looking back at me bore no resemblance to the humble secretary from Saturday night. Miss Sterling, the Morrison party is in the building, Marcus said through my intercom. Thank you. I'll be right out. I took a slow breath. This wasn't just a business meeting anymore. This was a reckoning. I walked to our largest conference room. Through the glass walls, I could see the Morrison team setting up their presentation. Richard Morrison sat at the head of their side of the table, confident. Next to him were two other executives and, my heart stopped. Amanda was there. Sitting to her father's right, wearing a business suit, papers spread in front of her. Of course. Tom had mentioned Amanda sometimes helped with her father's company. But I didn't know she would be here. I hadn't prepared for this. No. This was better. So much better. I pushed open the conference room door. Good morning. I'm Helen Sterling. The reaction was instantaneous and devastating. Richard Morrison stood up, hand extended, smile prepared. Then he froze. His hand dropped. The color drained from his face. You're Helen Sterling. But it was Amanda's reaction that I would remember forever. She had been looking down at her papers. When she heard my voice, her head snapped up. For one long moment, she just stared at me. Then her face went completely white. Her mouth opened. No sound came out. Yes, I said calmly. I'm Helen Sterling, CEO of Sterling Global. We met Saturday night, Richard. Although I believe you were under the impression I was just a retired secretary. Please, everyone sit down. Richard sat down slowly, mechanically. Amanda still hadn't moved. She looked like someone had hit her with a brick. "Amanda," her father said sharply. "Sit down." She Saturday. Her hands were shaking. I took my seat at the head of the table, my executives flanking me. I folded my hands and looked directly at Richard Morrison. "Mr. Morrison, I've reviewed your proposal thoroughly. I understand Morrison Industries is seeking a partnership involving our distribution network and a significant capital investment. Approximately $50 million, if I'm reading this correctly." "Why, yes," Richard stammered. He kept looking between me and Amanda, as if trying to recalibrate reality. "That's correct." "I see. Well, let me be direct. Sterling Global has decided to decline this partnership." The silence was absolute. What? Richard's face flushed red. "But we haven't even presented yet. You can't just—" "I can, and I have. The decision was made 3 weeks ago when your proposal first crossed my desk. The numbers don't work. Your company is carrying too much debt. Your market share is declining. Your operations are inefficient. Frankly, Mr. Morrison, your company is a liability, not an asset." Richard stood up, anger overtaking shock. "This is because of Saturday night. This is personal." "No," I said calmly. "This is business. The rejection was decided before Saturday night. That dinner simply confirmed what I already knew about your family's values." I looked at Amanda. She was crying silently, tears running down her face, ruining her makeup. "Amanda, you spent 5 years treating me like I was worthless. Like I was an embarrassment. Like my only value was in staying invisible and not bothering your perfect life. You made my son feel ashamed of his mother. You made him apologize for me. You made him lie about me." "I didn't know," Amanda whispered. "How could I know?" "You could have asked. You could have shown even the smallest amount of respect or curiosity. But you didn't, because you assumed. You assumed that a woman who dressed simply and lived modestly must be poor, must be unsuccessful, must be less than you." I stood up. "This meeting is over. I'm rejecting your proposal, Mr. Morrison. Not because of Saturday night, but because it's a bad deal. The fact that Saturday night happened just makes this conversation more satisfying than usual." I walked to the door, then paused. "Tom doesn't know about this yet. I've kept my identity secret from him to protect him, to let him build his own life. But after this meeting, I suspect that won't be possible anymore. When he finds out, I hope you'll all understand that the woman he loves, the poor retired secretary, is the same person as the CEO you're looking at now. I'm just one woman with 2 different wardrobes. The only thing that's changed is your knowledge." I looked directly at Amanda. "You judged me by my clothes and my bank account. You decided I wasn't worth your time or respect. That decision just cost your father $50 million and his company's future. I hope it was worth it." I left the conference room. Behind me, I heard Amanda sobbing. By 1 p.m. that afternoon, Tom was calling. I let it go to voicemail. He called again at 1:30 p.m., 2 p.m., 2:45 p.m. Finally, at 3:15 p.m., I answered. "Mom." His voice was strange. "I need to see you. Right now." "I'm at work, honey." "I know where you work. Sterling Tower. 42nd floor. Amanda told me everything. I'm in the lobby. Please, Mom. I need to understand." I closed my eyes. "Come up." 10 minutes later, Tom walked into my office. He stopped just inside the door, looking around at the space, the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, the museum-quality art on the walls, the conference table that could seat 20 people. "This is where you work?" he asked quietly. "This is where I work." "For how long?" 22 years. He sat down slowly in one of my visitor chairs. 22 years. My entire adult life, you've been, what? One of the most powerful businesswomen in the world? And you never told me. I wanted you to build your own success. Without my shadow. Without people treating you a certain way because of who your mother was. So instead, you let everyone think you were poor? Let Amanda and her parents treat you like garbage? Yes. Why? I sat down across from him. Because I needed to know if the woman you married loved you for you. Not for what she thought she could get from your family. And I got my answer, Tom. She doesn't love you. She loves the idea of you as someone she can control. Someone whose mother is an embarrassment she can manage. Tom put his face in his hands. She was crying so hard when she called me. She said you destroyed her father's company out of revenge. I didn't destroy anything. I rejected a bad business deal. The company was already failing. But you could have said yes. You could have saved it. At what cost? $50 million of my company's money on a business that won't survive? Tom, I didn't become CEO by making emotional decisions. I became CEO by making the right decisions, even when they're hard. He looked up at me. Do you understand what this means? Amanda will never forgive you. Her parents will never forgive you. My marriage is probably over. I know. And you did it anyway. I did it because it was the right business decision. But yes, Tom. I'm not going to lie. Seeing Amanda's face when she realized who I was? That felt good. Not because I'm cruel. But because for 5 years, she made me feel invisible. She made you feel ashamed of me. And I'm not invisible, Tom. I'm not an embarrassment. I'm a woman who built something incredible, and I won't apologize for that. We sat in silence for a long moment. I don't know what to do now, Tom said finally. Go home. Talk to your wife. Figure out if your marriage can survive this. But Tom, I need you to know something. I'm still the same person who raised you. Who sat with you when you were sick. Who helped you with your homework. Who showed up to every school play and baseball game. The only thing that's different is now you know I did all of that while also running a billion-dollar company. I'm not less than you thought. I'm more. And I hope that when you've had time to process this, you'll be proud, not angry. Tom stood up. He walked to the door, then turned back. I am proud, Mom. I'm confused and angry and my whole life feels like a lie right now. But I'm proud. I need time. Take all the time you need. He left. I sat alone in my office as the sun set over the city, turning the windows gold. I had won. I had exposed Amanda. I had protected my company. I had stood up for myself after 5 years of silence. So why did it feel like I had lost the only thing that mattered, my relationship with my son? 3 weeks passed. Tom didn't call. Amanda filed for divorce. Richard Morrison's company declared bankruptcy. And I went back to my regular life, CEO by day, eating dinner alone in my real apartment by night. Then, on a Thursday evening at 7 p.m., my doorbell rang. It was Tom. Can I come in? He asked. Of course. He walked through my penthouse slowly, taking it all in. The view. The art. The life I had hidden from him. I've been thinking a lot, he said finally. About you. About Amanda. About what it means to be successful. And I realized something. What's that? You were right about Amanda. The divorce papers came with a list of demands. She wants half of everything I have, even though we've only been married 3 years. She's claiming she deserves compensation because she gave up opportunities to marry me. Her lawyer called me a poor investment. I winced. I'm sorry, Tom. Don't be. You saw what I was too blind to see. She never loved me. She loved the idea of me fitting into her family's world. And when that world found out I came from money after all, your money, she tried to claim it. He sat down on my sofa. Mom, I'm angry at you for lying. That's going to take time to work through. But I understand why you did it. You wanted me to make my own way. And I did. I have a good job that I earned myself. I have self-respect. I have my own identity. If I had grown up knowing you were Helen Sterling, CEO, I might not have any of those things. You would have, I said. You're strong, Tom. Maybe. But I wouldn't have had the chance to prove it. He looked at me. I met the real you Saturday at Marcello's. The woman who ate a $35 salad and let Amanda's parents treat her like garbage. That woman, humble, kind, patient, that's who you really are. The CEO stuff is just your job. But that woman at dinner? That's my mom. I felt tears well up. Thank you, sweetheart. I'm moving in for a while. The divorce is messy, and I need space from all of it. Is that okay? This is your home. It always has been. We ordered Chinese food and ate it on the balcony overlooking the city. And for the first time in 5 years, I didn't have to pretend to be anyone other than who I was. Helen Sterling. Mother. CEO. Survivor. The woman who taught her daughter-in-law that respect has nothing to do with designer clothes or expensive restaurants. That power is quiet. That success is patient. And that the most expensive lesson in the world is learning too late that the person you dismissed as worthless was worth more than you could ever imagine. Amanda learned that lesson. And it cost her family everything. As for me, I finally got to be myself, completely and honestly, with the person who mattered most. My son knew the truth. And he was proud. That was worth more than any business deal I'd ever closed.